Today we are looking at a single document, which is the fixture list for AFT Dice Season 13. Specifically, it's the preview for Round 10.
Right. And to most people, I mean, let's be honest, this looks like a profoundly boring scheduling spreadsheet.
Yeah, exactly. Just, a column of three-letter codes next to stadium names.
Yeah.
But our mission for this deep dive is to show you why this one piece of paper is actually a high-stakes map of probability, logistics, and just cutthroat strategy.
Because there is so much hiding in plain sight here.
Okay, let's unpack this, because to understand the document, we first have to understand the universe it governs, right? For those of you who aren't familiar, AFT Dice is a simulation league.
Right.
It takes the real-world teams, strategies, and environments of Australian rules football, the AFL, and translates them into this deeply complex environment. It's all driven by dice rolling mechanics and probability engines.
It is essentially a universe where athletic prowess is totally replaced by algorithmic modifiers. Like, in this ecosystem, a team doesn't just kick a goal. A manager actually rolls against defensive algorithms, simulated weather conditions, and pitch degradation metrics.
Which sounds exhausting to manage, honestly.
It is. And what makes this specific document, the Round 10 preview, so critical is that Season 13 is a very mature, established ecosystem. The managers playing this game, they're veterans.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Exactly. They know the mathematics behind the simulation. So when we look at a seemingly simple scheduling list for Round 10, we're actually looking at a blueprint of exactly how the league's mathematical pressure is being applied to every single competitor at once.
Which brings us to the core focus of today's deep dive, really. The sheer strategic importance of Round 10 itself.
Yeah, the timing is everything.
Right, because we are looking at incredibly raw data here. The document just lists matchups categorized identically. They all say regular and upcoming.
Right, no special events or anything.
Exactly. And there are exactly 18 distinct entities. They are represented by these stark three-letter codes, which correspond to those real-world AFL teams. You have RAC for Richmond, COL for Collingwood, ESS for Essendon, GCS for Gold Coast, and so on.
Right. All 18 codes are accounted for.
18 codes, 9 matches, and every single one is active.
What's fascinating here is that Round 10 features this perfect, just unyielding symmetry. There are absolutely no buys.
Wow. None at all.
Nope, zero. There are no odd numbers or teams resting. It acts as this massive, simultaneous stress test for the entire league's infrastructure.
Oh, I see.
Because in a simulation league, the scheduling isn't just about who plays who, It dictates the flow of statistical data. Since every single team is locked into a head-to-head battle, the probability mechanics of the entire league are just firing at maximum capacity all at once.
I want to read the actual pairings from the source material because, well, when you hear the full list, the scale of it really sets in for you.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
We've got RIC versus COL, POR versus SYD, ESS against GCS.
Right, all happening in the same round.
Exactly. BRI taking on HAW.
Yeah.
NM against WCE. STK versus Mellera.
It just keeps going.
Yeah. GE fighting FRE. AD versus GWS. And finally, WB against HERAR. Hearing all that at once, it's like a massive, simultaneous chess tournament where all 18 factions are activated at the exact same moment on the board.
That's a really good way to visualize it.
Right. You can't just sit back and watch your rivals play to study their dice logic. You are in the trenches at the exact same time they are. Just imagine being a competitor in Season 13, trying to split your attention across that entire board.
And that simultaneous pressure is exactly why Round 10 is the ultimate inflection point of Season 13.
Because it's right in the middle of the season.
Exactly. By the time you reach the 10th round of a simulation league, all that early season variance starts to vanish. The law of large numbers totally takes over.
Oh, right, because there's enough data now.
Yeah. In Round 1 or Round 2, a weaker manager might, steal a win because they rolled exceptionally well, hitting that high variance luck. But by Round 10, the meta strategy of the season is fully established.
The luck runs out, basically.
Pretty much. The sample size of dice rolls is large enough that the pretenders inevitably fall away from the true contenders. A regular round designation across all 18 teams means there are no gimmick mechanics to hide behind. It is pure, ruthless execution of strategy.
That makes a lot of sense. It actually reminds me of looking at historical data from earlier seasons, like Season 12.
Oh, yeah. Season 12 was brutal.
Right. The midpoint was exactly when teams relying on high-risk, high-reward dice rolls suddenly hit a mathematical wall. The teams that prioritized consistent modifier stacking, basically minimizing their reliance on pure luck, they pulled ahead.
Yep, consistency wins out.
So think about it. If you are a manager steering the ship for the team coded as BRI, and you are locked in this crucial mid-season battle with HABU, you are dealing with massive cognitive overload.
Oh, absolutely.
You are managing your own risk algorithms, but you also know that 16 other entities are altering the league standings at the exact same time you are.
It forces a huge psychological split in a manager's attention. I mean, in a dice league, data is your most valuable currency.
Right.
You are actively analyzing your opponent, HOW, but you also need to monitor the probabilistic outcomes of the other 8 matches happening in the background.
Wait, really? You have to watch the other matches while you play?
Well, yeah, think about it. If a key rival team in another match starts rolling unusually well and pulling ahead, does that force you to take riskier rolls in your own game just to maintain your position on the ladder?
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about the ladder pressure.
Yeah, the 18-team grid forces every manager into a state of hyper-awareness. You are playing the board, but you are also playing the metadata of the entire league.
I see the distinction there. It's not just a schedule. It's a simultaneous mathematical event. But, as perfectly balanced as this 18-team slate is in terms of participation, when you look closely at the data, specifically at where these digital matches are taking place, that perfect symmetry totally shatters.
It really does fall apart geographically.
Because out of 9 total matches in round 10, a staggering 4 matches are scheduled at one single venue, which is Marvel Stadium.
That is undeniably the most glaring statistical anomaly in the entire source document. I mean, nearly half of the entire round is funneled into one location.
It's wild. You have ESS versus GCS, NM versus WCE, SDK versus ML, and WB versus CARR. All 4 matches pointing to this one specific stadium.
All bottlenecked together.
Wait, I have to push back on this for a second because the logistics here seem contradictory to me. If this represents a physical space, how do 8 different teams play in one stadium for a single round? Is this designed as like a sequential physical gauntlet happening over several days? Or does the dice nature of the league mean these locations aren't physical bottlenecks, but rather algorithmic ones?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the distinction between a physical turf and a digital algorithm is precisely where the competitive edge lies in AFT Dice.
Okay, explain that.
Marvel Stadium isn't just a place with seats. In a simulation league, a venue represents a specific, bounded set of environmental modifiers that are applied to the dice rolls.
Ah, okay.
Marvel Stadium is famous in the real AFL for having a closed roof. So, translated into a dice simulation, that usually means the wind variance modifier is completely removed from the algorithm.
Oh, so there's no wind to mess up the ball.
Exactly. Passing mechanics become highly predictable.
Ah, so for those 8 teams playing in Marvel, the lack of wind variance means they can rely on a much more stable passing game. The environment is sterile in terms of weather.
Correct, but here is the algorithmic bottleneck. If the simulation accounts for sequential games played on the same surface, you introduce a turf degradation mechanic.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. The first match, ESS versus GCS, might feature perfect digital turf. But by the time WB plays CIR in the 4th match at that same venue, the algorithmic modifiers might penalize ground ball mechanics because the virtual pitch is chewed up.
That is insane. So they share the same pitch degradation.
Yes. So you have 8 teams dealing with the exact same baseline environmental logic, but potentially facing compounding penalties. Over 44% of Round 10's outcomes hinge on navigating the specific algorithmic quirks of Marvel Stadium.
I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of a manager for one of those late games like WB or CIR.
Right, the 4th game on that turf.
Yeah, I get that Marvel is crowded, but isn't there a hidden advantage to that congestion? Like, if the digital environment becomes highly degraded or volatile by that 4th game, doesn't that actually benefit the weaker teams?
How do you mean?
Well, if the turf modifier is punishing everyone, the stronger team can't execute their pristine, high-probability strategy, right? It introduces chaos. And chaos is a ladder for the underdog, hoping for a lucky dice roll.
That is a very sharp strategic deduction.
Oh, thanks.
Yes, algorithmic degradation acts as a great equalizer. A top-tier team relies on predictable modifiers to guarantee a win.
Right, they want safe bets.
Exactly. So if the Marvel Stadium environment degrades and forces both teams to rely on raw, unmodified dice rolls, the mathematical gap between the favorite and the underdog shrinks dramatically.
Wow.
If you are managing a weaker team, You actually want to be in that Marvel Stadium traffic jam late in the schedule. You want the digital pitch to be a mess. You want the variance.
So the venue literally dictates the metagame, which naturally begs the question, if Marvel Stadium is a massive bottleneck of shared dice modifiers and potential algorithmic degradation, how do teams escape that variance?
They have to look elsewhere on the map.
Well, yeah, you have to look at the teams lucky enough to avoid it entirely. And here's where it gets really interesting. When you slide your finger down the rest of the fixture list, the map is completely lopsided.
It is. The topographical variance from the schedule maker is extreme. It forces two completely different styles of play in the same round. Extreme is the perfect word for it. Marvel is a total traffic jam of modifiers. Then you look at Adelaide Oval. It hosts a neat little doubleheader.
Right, just 2 matches.
Yeah, you've got POR versus SYD and ADE versus GWS. Okay, that's 2 matches. They are sharing a space, so there's some shared environmental logic, but it's manageable, right?
Yeah, it's not a 4-match pileup.
But then you get to the absolute outliers.
Yeah.
The lone wolves. 3 venues on this list host exactly 1 highly isolated match each.
The solitary games.
Yep. The MCG gets RIC versus Viol. The Gabba gets BRI versus HOR. And GMHBA Stadium gets GE versus FRE.
This raises an important question for anyone attempting to decode the Season 13 meta. How does venue exclusivity alter the mathematical approach to a match?
Right. Because I don't see these as stadiums anymore. Playing at the Gabba alone is like conducting a delicate chemistry experiment in a sterile laboratory.
That's a great analogy.
Thanks. You only have to calculate for your own isolated variables there. But playing at Marvel Stadium is like trying to conduct that exact same chemistry experiment in the middle of a busy intersection.
Exactly, with cars crashing around you.
Yeah. At the Gabba, there is no previous game chewing up the virtual turf. There is no shared data pool. It's a pure, unpolluted environment.
Exactly. For the teams operating at the MCG, the Gabba, or GMHBA Stadium, their match is the sole event triggering the simulation engine in that environment.
So they don't share any modifiers.
Nope. Let's look at that BRI versus HW match at the Gabba. The Gabba is historically an open-air venue, often associated with humidity or rain in simulations.
Oh, so the weather matters again.
Right. This means the managers might have to roll against a wet weather modifier, which increases the probability of dropped marks or missed kicks.
But the crucial difference is that it's their rain modifier and no one else's.
Precisely. It is isolated variance. The managers for BRI and HW know exactly what algorithmic hurdles they face, and they don't have to worry about a league-wide meta developing in real time, like the teams at Marvel do.
Because their match isn't affecting anyone else's turf.
Right. If you're managing RAC playing Hallel at the MCG, you are engaging in a pure, isolated one-on-one duel. You construct your entire probability strategy around that specific venue's baseline algorithm, and you are totally confident that no external matches will degrade the conditions or shift those mathematical boundaries.
It's a massive advantage if you are a team that relies on precision. Like, you would kill to be that single match at GMHBA Stadium.
Oh, absolutely.
You just input your strategy, roll your dice, and trust the math without worrying that the team playing before you ruined the digital graphs.
Yeah, no messy variables.
It really creates this fascinating 3-tiered structure for round 10. You have the sterile laboratories of the single matches. You have the middle ground shared space of the Adelaide Oval doubleheader. And then you have the absolute chaotic bottleneck of Marvel Stadium.
And remember the context of when this is happening? This is round 10, the mid-season inflection point.
Right, where the pretenders fall away.
Exactly. The strategies deployed here, whether a manager is exploiting the isolation of the MCG or surviving the algorithmic gauntlet of Marvel, will set the trajectory for the entire back half of Season 13.
Everything hinges on this round.
It does. If a manager correctly interprets how the simulation engine is handling that 4-game Marvel bottleneck, they can extract a mathematical advantage that could carry them to the playoffs. But, if they miscalculate the degradation modifiers, their season could effectively end right here.
It's incredible how much depth there is in just a few lines of raw text. We started with what looked like a mundane shipping manifest or, a boring spreadsheet.
Just 9 lines of scheduling data?
Yeah. But when you pull it apart and understand the mechanics behind it, it reveals this deep, intricate strategic framework. Round 10 of AFT Dice Season 13 isn't just a schedule. It's a topographical map of probability that is heavily, almost absurdly tilted toward one massive hub at Marvel Stadium while deliberately leaving these intense, isolated duels out on the fringes.
It is a masterclass in simulated logistical design, honestly. By distributing the matches this way, The league ensures that no single overarching strategy can dominate. The managers at Marvel, they have to optimize for shared degradation and predictability,
Right.
while the managers at the solitary venues have to optimize for environmental isolation and unique weather variants. It forces adaptation at every single level of play, precisely when the pressure of the season is at its absolute highest.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? I think this deep dive is a powerful reminder of the value of looking closer at raw data, no matter what field you are in.
Oh, for sure. Data is never just data.
Exactly. Whether you are analyzing a simulated sports league, looking at a business spreadsheet, or just checking a logistical schedule, the where and the how many are never just background details. They are the invisible variables that completely change the mechanics of the competition.
Everything's connected.
Right. The numbers and the locations always tell a complex story about advantage and disadvantage, but only if you take the time to translate the mechanisms beneath them.
And as you think about how data translates into real world, or in this case, simulated outcomes, I want to leave you with one final lingering thought.
Okay, let's hear it.
We've established that AFT is a dice league, a universe fundamentally driven by probability algorithms and simulated mechanics.
Right.
And we've seen how severe the scheduling bottleneck is at Marvel Stadium in this crucial round 10 inflection point. So when the season 13 champion is finally crowned, how much of their ultimate success will have been decided by the brilliance of their mathematical strategy, and how much will have been decided months earlier by the sheer random luck of where the schedule maker dropped them on the stadium map?
Oh, wow. That is the ultimate question for any simulation, isn't it?
It really is.
It brings us right back to that unassuming piece of paper. It's not just a blueprint of matchups. It really is a map of statistical destiny. Keep looking closer at the variables, everyone.